This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, hi there. Thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and today's guest started his music career as what he defines as an old man, 21 years old. He arrived in Chicago early in life and shared a backdoor entrance where he lived with the legendary Silvio's nightclub. Now, as one can imagine, that steady exposure to the likes of Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and others did their part to draw this young man into the blues and set him on a course that would follow for, well, a little over 60 years, if I'm not mistaken now. At the age of 93, I believe he may be the oldest active blues musician today. If not, I'm sure he'll correct me. The 2011 and 2013 BMA Best Blues Bassist, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary electric bass guitarist and 2023 Blues Blast Awards Lifetime Achievement recipient, Bob Stroger. Welcome to Time Signatures, sir.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad to be here chatting with you. So, yeah, you were right. I started at old age of 21 years old playing the blues. But from the cotton fields of Haytop, Missouri to around the world. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Yes, sir. Now, Bob, I want to get this out of the way here. I want to get into the meat and potatoes of the discussion. I'd like you to talk about your earliest memories of music. Were the blues part of your youthful memory, and was music part of your growing up years?
Not really, because I'm from the South, and down south for kids listen to blues. That I was devil's music, so we had to kind of sneak around and do that. My father, he was a guitar player, and I didn't even know he played the instrument until I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Because he had to kind of keep that a secret. And I kind of came up on the closest I got to the blues side was Louis Jordan back in the days, because I listened to the station or down south, mostly country and western, and the blues station. Our radio wasn't strong enough to pick it up, so
Okay.
I got in the blues when I came to Chicago, and I got into a family with Ferguson, for Johnny Ferguson. He played a lot of muddy stuff, and which he was a front porch player, and he never did want to travel, so that's what kind of started me off carrying those guys around. Or J.P. Hutto, he wasn't playing guitar back in those days. He was just singing. And Johnny he didn't want to play in clubs, just wanted to play in house parties. So J.P. got us straight off. And then I got married. And we moved behind a little, right behind a club called Silvio's. And that's where it kind of got in my mind that I wanted to play the blues,
Yeah.
or music, because when I was down south, I didn't know what a suit were, And
Yeah.
I saw and all those guys, peoples was buying them drinks, and they had on their suits and things. And back in those days, musician was something special, and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's kind of got me into it, and so with not a great education, so I always wanted to something that people to remember me by, and that music was one of those things. I just didn't want to live and die. I just wanted to do something kind of special,
Yes,
so
sir.
that's what kind of got started.
Well, I'd love to hear about your work with Eddie King early on. Now, how did that come about? And clearly you had a pretty good thing going with him because you spent 15 years as a backing musician for him, yes?
Well, yeah, it was a great thing. We was just like a family. Well, what happened and when you were young and trying to play the blues, then by me coming from a family that I thought the blues was there with music when I learned how to play a little blues. Then a kid, you want to be respected. I kind of wanted to move up, and so I got in there trying to play jazz.
Right.
And I played with a boy called Rufus Foreman for a few years, but we did all the rehearsal, but no jobs. And we come to the conclusion that we needed someone to kind of play some blues. Well, blues we called back then was B.B. King stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we got Eddie King to play the blues. So he was a saxophone player to play the blues. And we was kind of Eddie King was I don't know, he was kind of forceful. And so he wanted to take over the band. So we all left and went with Eddie King. So that's the way that started.
Okay.
Years and years. I think I cut my first CD with well record with Eddie back in the days was I think Love You Baby was one of our first CDs.
Okay. Now, Bob, you've shared the stage with a literal who's who in the first generation of the blues. Talk about your fondest moment on stage with a fellow blues musician. Is there anything that pops out as one of those moments where you just were kind of awestruck by everything that was going on?
Oh yeah, well I had lots of people took me by the hand. Uh, Sunnyland Slim, he saw a lot into me. He the one kind of got me into my style of dressing. Cause back in the day, if I don't care how good you play, if you didn't have wear a suit and a tie or some kind of uniform, you just didn't get no gigs. And so he the one kind of got me in the mind of that your appearance was 80% of the battle.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and he got me going. I learned so much from Sonny, and back in the day, Eddie Taylor, he was one of my favorite. He helped me a lot. I had so many great guys that took me through this business. I lost the Oldest Rush. Oldest Rush gave me my first tour to go to Europe, and I can just go on and
Wow.
on and on.
Yeah.
Everybody saw, everybody saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, because I never would thought I'd be a professional musician, but everybody kind of wanted to pull me along with them.
Yeah.
So then went down to Anton. Anton took me into the family with them guys down there, and so that's right to this day. I'm doing a little teaching down in Mississippi on Pine Top thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to get back to the kids of the younger generation now that's coming up, because so many people helped me along, and I just want to kind of give back some what
Sure.
I know.
Sure. Well, like so many others in the genre, you found success in the blues later in life. Aside from maybe finding that success earlier, is there anything else you would change if you could go back and do it all over again?
Not, not really. I'm glad I came up and I had the bad experiences, and
Sure.
uh, I wouldn't change not anything, because this is what I'm bringing along to the young generation. How to present yourself on the stage, and that you're not a one man band. If you're playing with a many color band, Your job is to make the band sound good. If the sound,
Sure.
I don't, if you ain't doing them playing one string, if that artist, if you playing with the artist, people are coming to see the artist, not you. They're not gonna say that the artist can't play good. They're gonna say you can't follow the artist, you know.
Right.
So but here, the younger generation, they want to show how good they're playing, but people not coming there to see them. If you're a sad man,
Right.
our job is to make the band sound good.
Yes, sir. Bob, in your career, you've quite literally done a little bit of everything on stage, at smaller local venues, serving as a session musician, and of course, touring as a side musician for some pretty big names. What is your favorite role that you've had as a blues musician out of all of
I
those?
think my biggest role was really got me really into wanting to be a professional musician when Otis took me to Europe.
Hmm.
Uh, I, I was I was never would thought that I would be a professional musician. I worked a day job and
Yes, sir.
come back. I mean, just was a side thing, but I think we went into France, Norway it were, and we got to Norway early around 8 o'clock that morning, and people was out circling the block for a show to play that night.
Hmm.
And I said, wow, this is what I want to be. I want to be recognized like this.
Yeah.
And so I think that was my biggest, biggest moment. And old as I am, I could picture that today to see those people are coming out to see Otis. And that's what I say. I wanted to be like Otis someday. People care enough to come back and support me like that.
Sure. Yeah. Without a doubt, your music is 100% old school or classic blues. And at least for me, there's something super special about the sound and the feel of classic blues music. Matter of fact, I just went and visited a record store here in East Lansing called Flat Black and Circular, and I picked up an
Uh-huh.
album from the Chicago Blues Fest in 1980, and I also picked up a Coco Taylor. And there's just something about the classic blues, isn't there?
Well, yeah, you just don't beat it. Uh, Back then you played as a group and you played with one another, and it's a feeling. It's
Yes,
so
sir.
much feeling in the old music, and I know I tried playing a little bit everything. I played, but blues music, I feel it because I don't know, it's just something about it. It's not there have to be that fancy, something that people can feel in their heart. Or
Yes.
you can pet your feet by. So
Yep.
I don't think that kind of music will never die.
Well, I'm a firm believer in that, and the blues. That's one of the things I've always liked is something that makes me feel. Um, Bob, I want to ask you, talk about your exposure and opportunities to mentor the new generation of blues musicians that are coming up. I can only imagine that you're dropping some genuine sage advice to these younger guys and gals. Yes.
Oh yes, just like I told you a few minutes ago. But if you're sad, man, you playing as a band. Don't get out and try to show people how good you is. It's not how good you playing if you're a side man or playing with the band. Your job is how good you make the band sound. That's our
Right.
job. That's how I look about Otis Rush. He never wanted me to play nothing fancy. He want me uh, to set the pattern for him. And I think about being a bass player, that's our job, not to play the guitar bass, is to set the pattern so the guitar player who you working with can play behind you. up to these days here now, and I'm an old man, and that's what keeping me working because people want to love my playing and the way I support them, not me supporting them myself.
Yes, sir. This is Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and along with me today is Bob Stroger. Bob has been around over 60 years. Is that not correct, I believe?
That's right.
He's
I've been in the business for long
he's been at it a
and
long
proud.
time, man. That's I
Yeah,
wanted go ahead.
I'm just so blessed, that as of age I have, I think I'm here's about the oldest one in here. I call Bobby Rush my son. I think Bobby Rush is about 2 years under me.
Okay.
You know, I'm about the oldest one out here now is touring and playing the music. So
Yeah.
that makes me feel good, and I just thank the good Lord above that they have gave me strength, and I still can walk around and have fun on the bandstand.
Yes, sir. Bob, I want to ask you about working with the young pianist Ben Levin. What's he like to work with? Because, man, he seems like he's a real, genuine old soul. Would you agree?
Oh man, that's my little friend. Yeah, uh we talk so much, and anytime he come to town, he still want me to play with him. So Ben, ever since I first met him about 5 years ago, he just hung on to me, and he's a truly a good musician, and you can tell by everybody want to be a part of him.
Yeah.
So he's one of the better youth musicians that's coming up, I think now.
Yeah, I
And I
would have
think
to
he's gonna
agree.
be a superstar.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I know that he's touring with his friend over in Japan right now, and I know that
Yeah,
he's excited because he's coming up to Chicago Blues Fest this year, which is really exciting. Speaking of
yeah.
Chicago Blues Fest, Buddy Guy talked about feeling an incredible responsibility as one of the last of his generation to take the blues a little further down the way. Now, you have him by a few years, so let me ask you, Bob, how do you feel you've done by that standard to help keeping the blues alive, sir?
Oh, I think I'm doing pretty good at it because everybody that I talk to always give me applause and how I help them. I'm working with a little boy or guy now that every time he get a gig, he want me to work with him. Joey, he's a little guitar player.
Right?
I think he's about 20 some years old now, but he always want me to work with him, and he say I give him so much inspiration, and Ben is the same way when Ben was working when he comes to Chicago. I'm working with Ben, so
Nice.
they just always want me hanging around. That makes me feel good.
Yes, sir. Bob Stroger and the Head Cutters. That's my name. It's available on the Delmark labels. Matter of fact, I'm sporting the Delmark T-shirt today, and I'm betting you can find a copy on just about any online seller. And don't forget the streaming services like Spotify. I'm just curious, how many dates are you playing these days, man? Are you mostly local? You still traveling quite a bit? I mean, I've seen some photos of you down at Bob Cortor's Rhythm Room in Phoenix, so I know you get around a little.
Oh yeah, I'm still doing the same thing. I do lots of work with Bob Cortor, doing some work. I got a festival to do. Well, I'm doing Chicago Blues Festival.
Nice.
Then I got to go and do one with uh Rock and Johnny. I got
Mm,
a festival to do with him, and I'm doing the three Bobs is doing some stuff together. We doing some festival together on that. So
yeah.
most of my job now I'm doing most is on the road, and I'm doing a lot of stuff with. I work with Kenny Smith a lot now. I worked with Big Eye Willie Smith for years.
Yes, sir.
And now I'm working with Kenny Smith, so we got a thing going. We're doing lots of co-op gigs with Kenny Smith now. So I'm still doing the same thing, and I'm still traveling. I got to go back to Brazil and finish up my CD because when I left from over there, it was this virus was going on. You know, I supposed to went back over to do another CD for Delmar, but I went back over there and didn't finish it, and it came back, and so now I got to go back over and finish the CD.
Well, I'm definitely
that's my family away from home.
Well, I am looking forward to hearing the new CD when it comes out. Absolutely. And speaking of CDs, where can people find your albums, merchandise? How can they get in touch with you if they want to have you come to the town for a gig?
Oh, well, you can always get into touch with me. I had a website, but you can get to me on Facebook, this file, and Robert Stroger, Bob Stroger. You can find out just by what I'm doing every day, and they can get in touch with me that way, or you get in touch with me with Kenny Smith. There's so many ways people can get in touch with me.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sure you could also get in touch through the label like I did. That was my connection was through, I believe, Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Well, Bob Stroger.
You can call me, and I have a few on hand, too. I sent them out, so
there you go.
So many ways you get the CD.
Very good. Well, Bob Stroger, it's been an incredible honor to have you as a guest today on Time Signatures. We definitely look forward to many good things for you in the future, and also that new CD. That wraps up this edition of our program. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues one story at a time is my mission. Until next time, be well, and so long.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.